For
You know,
me.
a lot of people talk to us about commission, Fred Hammond and commission. And
Oh
for
yeah,
those of us who didn't grow up in the States, by the time I moved to the States in '93, commission and sort of they were getting ready to break up and stuff. But they
yeah.
seem to have a big influence on everyone that I've interviewed, from 112 to As Yet to Blackstreet.
Mhm.
Everyone I talk to, everyone says, yeah, yeah, commission, commission. What was it about what they did that shook the that really set a foundation for R&B acts and groups in the '90s?
I think it was because the difference between them and say like, I think the difference between them and say like the Winans or any other gospel artists at that time, they were far more contemporary. So
Okay.
you could play one of their songs, you literally think it was an R&B song, and so it'd be like, but that was kind of their whole approach is something palatable for
Mm.
guys that don't necessarily go to church every Sunday.
Um,
And so, and that's literally what happened with Tim. Like he was so blown away by their music. Like he just couldn't even believe it. And I was the same way with, things I was learning about all these amazing R&B artists I had never even heard of. And so, yeah, so again, that was the cool thing about us, went early on. And so, but yeah, commission, man, those guys, like, and some of the concepts for their songs are things a lot of people won't talk about in gospel.
mm.
Like they make references, to relationships in their songs, or they'll make references to, um, I want to have a practical life. I want to enjoy things that most people enjoy, but I want to do it from, within the context of spirituality or Christianity, whatever. So they had an interesting approach, creative, and they were just all of them were amazing musicians.
Mm.
You know, they revolutionized the way guys in church dressed. Like they changed the entire game. Like they was like you could tell who guys that were commission fans by the way they dressed, the way their hair was cut. I was right with them too. We had tips. So it was like we have our hair cut certain way. So like, yeah. So it was commission. Ton of respect for those guys. And when I was 19 years old, I actually moved to Detroit. I was offered a chance for a lifetime uh, because I was offered to play at Aretha Franklin's father's
Wow.
church. Yes, and her father was like the original like mega pastor. Like I'm sure you heard of
Like
T.D. Jakes
T.T. Jakes,
and
yeah,
guys
Creflo
like T.D.
Dollar, yeah,
Jakes.
yeah.
Well, Aretha Franklin's father was like the T.D. Jakes of the '60s and the
Wow,
'70s, and like my dad is a pastor and
wow.
a preacher, and so when that opportunity came, my dad was like, "Oh my God, you got it! Like you have to take this opportunity." And my mother was like, "No, you're only a child, Detroit." And at the time, Detroit was like the murder capital of the world.
Oh, you're
So so coming from Peoria, Illinois, where there's like 100,000 people, and moving to Detroit, it was, as you can imagine, it was like very like what I say all the time is Detroit grew me up very, very quickly, like
wow,
pretty much overnight. Yeah, but
wow.
I wouldn't change anything about the experience, and I learned so much. I was living there about 3 years. Then that was very pivotal in me and Tim's career and ending up meeting Dallas. And the reason why is because in Detroit, I met some people that owned the studio that came from the whole Motown era. They had the studio, so I was telling them, yeah, me and my friend, we produced together. So then they brought Tim up to Detroit, and and we were able to like have access to a studio, for about a year and a half straight. And so, um, but the only thing that was very challenging was because the money I was making at the church was really good money, but because I had a lot of liability, like my sister was kind enough to let me use her car. It was a brand new Toyota Cressida, so it was like me having a Ferrari. So it was like taking all my money that I was making at the church. So we struggled a lot in Detroit. No one ever knew that, but we struggled many, many, many days.
Wow.
but we never allowed it to affect us. Like literally, we never even complained to each other. We actually would laugh about it. So, but anyway, like, you know, it was many days out of the week we didn't eat.
Wow.
And so, but anyway, we had this access to the studio, and so that's where we were able to like hone our skills in the studio, doing demos with people there and stuff. And so, so fast forward, how we ended up meeting Dallas. It was a guy from Detroit that we had worked with, did demos with. We happened to run into him the night we drove into Atlanta. Because we drove into Atlanta with like $100 each. We didn't have any money, but we were on a quest to meet Dallas Austin, because at the time he was looking for young producers.
Oh, the word was out that he was looking. The word was out that he was looking.
Yeah, because he had put it out in,
okay.
This is pre-internet, so he had put it out in magazines and stuff.
Okay.
He would put articles like in Right On
Black Beat, yeah.
Five, all these things. Like, I'm looking for producers, you know, just if y'all ever see me, y'all come up to me, give me your demos. Like, so we drove to Atlanta looking for Dallas.
Wow.
By the time we got there, we literally had like $100 each, if that. and you know, as fate would have it, you know, we ended up meeting him. You know, things aligned, and we were finally able to meet him. It wasn't easy, but we were finally able to meet him through our friend Paul Hill, who we had met in Detroit. So yeah, it's amazing in life. Sometimes it's things are so chaotic and falling apart, but they're actually coming together.
The something you mentioned.
So was the case in that, because like, man, we many nights, and we slept on the floor of Detroit for over a year, like nearly 2 years.
Wow.
And now, mind you, the pastor that brought me up there was a multimillionaire. He stayed in this beautiful home down the street from John Sally, because John Sally just got drafted, but like, beautiful home. But you know, when these people brought us there to work in their studio, we stayed in their basement. They didn't have any furniture or anything. So we literally slept on a cement basement for over a year and a half.
Did they even realize that?
They realized it, but they kind of tricked us. Because when they was like, hey, you guys can use this basement as your own apartment, it was fully furnished. What they didn't tell us was all that furniture belonged to someone else. And one day, that person literally came and got their stuff. So we just came back with it in this empty basement. It was like, oh, wow. It was like, oh, yes, sorry, those things didn't belong to us. It's like, okay. But that's just some of the pitfalls that happened along our way. And so, but you know, we literally laughed it off and just kept going. So.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
Somewhere in between.
For even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas boys are winning all spirits.
Play it.
These guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.